Me, 31M, with my wife, 31F. We've known each other basically our whole life, married 8 years, need advice on confronting her about infidelity. I need to confront my wife about a few things related to her infidelity and I need some advice on how to best maximize the benefits of the conversation. Backstory, as quick as possible, I've known her since 3rd grade. We were best friends in high school, started dating in college. We got married after college. Because of our history, I know her. While dating in college we did have one break. She went on a couple of dates with this guy who was a co-worker, Guy A. Once we got married and moved away, she continued to talk to this dude. I allowed it because I am dumb. She even met up with him once when he was in town. Again, I allowed it because I am dumb. She said he expected her to go back to his hotel with him, but she came home that night. That relationship and the chats ended around then, BC he didn't get any. Or so I thought. Next she started talking to a guy at her new job, we will call Guy B. This was roughly 3 years ago. They had a meet-up and things happened. Heavy petting is how to best describe it. Old school second base. She confessed to me after this meeting. This was a huge problem. We worked it out between us over a considerable amount of time. No more contact with this Guy B. Or so I thought. Pattern anyone? Next, about 1.5 years ago, she started talking to another guy at work, we will call Guy C. It started friendly and moved into dangerous territory. At one point he left his wife. Presumably for her? She admitted that things had gotten out of hand when she confessed it to me. I had no idea again. Nothing physical happened and I believe her. Or I believed her at the time. They decided to be friends and I kind of believe they are. I read a lot of texts and emails between them, with permission, and they are all commiserating about work. She still talks to him. More on this later. Back about 5 months ago, I found text messages between her and Guy B. They had met up again. This time, a lot more happened. And this is where poop gets a little complicated. I found the texts by honest mistake, I'm not getting into how because it's besides the point. She admitted that this time they had done more than second base. Old school third base according to her. I believed her at the time. This was a huge problem. I was/am devastated. We talked endlessly about this. I would have walked out the door if it weren't for the fact that we had just had a baby girl who was 5 months old at the time. I stayed for her. We kind of worked through a lot of it. We talked about counseling but haven't made it yet. That is being rectified today. I've got the insurance approval and a number to make an appointment. Also, she agreed to cut all contact with this dude. They work different shifts so I don't think they can talk at work but I can never be sure. I believed they cut off contact at the time. I know I sound incredibly naive and I may be the dumbest man on the planet, but it gets worse. Since the second thing with Guy B, I've been really suspicious about a lot of stuff. Better late than never I guess. So I started snooping. Every chance I get. I go through her phone. I track her whereabouts with the Find My iPhone thing. And this is what I've found, Guy C, still talking. 99% work-related commiseration. But, there is a little bit of flirting. A tiny bit. On both ends. Last week my wife had to travel out of town for the day and they met up briefly. I basically watched by monitoring her phone and without being prompted she told me about seeing him that night when we both got home. It was a public place so I doubt anything happened. They are friends according to her. However, I found an email from about 2 months ago where she says some things that are clearly beyond the scope of friendship. I don't want to give up what we have. Etc. Nothing romantic but definitely more than friends. Then, last night I started to look back at our phone bills for the last 6 to 8 months. I found numerous calls between her and Guy C. Most are at odd hours in the middle of the night and she talks to him more than anyone else. Guy B, there was no contact that I knew of between them for a while. But, I found a phone call from his number last month that occurred in the middle of the night and lasted a long ducking time. I will point out she doesn't know I know Guy B and Guy C's phone numbers. So they are talking again. As I am typing this all out, I'm just thinking, what the duck, guy I thought this was a thing of the distant ducking past. But no. This morning while she was in the shower, I got on her phone and looked at her emails. Then I looked deeper at sent emails, where I had found the more than friends emails sent to guy C, and I found emails to this ducking guy from last ducking week. I hadn't seen or heard about this butthole for years. Now she is sending him nude pics. God ducking, damn it. And here is the cherry on top of it all. She got a call last week that she had an irregular pap and has HPV. I read up on it and it is possible that it's been dormant all these years, right? So I ask her, is there anything else you need to tell me? She says that her meeting with Guy B a few months back may have been more than third base, but she was too silly to remember. At the time I bought it BC, she's gotten blackout silly with me and doesn't remember poop we did the night before. But after processing that ducking comment for a little bit, no. I didn't want to believe that trickle truth was happening, but here it ducking is. First of all, what the duck is wrong with me? Why am I just now getting all of this? Duck me. I mean, I'm realizing the extent of my stupidity as I am typing this right now. Second, I want to confront her with the email poop and the phone calls and some timeline poop that isn't adding up. But should I wait to gather more evidence? Should I get a voice-activated recorder to bug our house? Am I turning into a lunatic? Third, how should I approach the confrontation? I found another number that I don't know and she has frequent convos with, often late at night. I want to be able to pin her down on some stuff, catch her in a lie, etc. Fourth, I do want to save this marriage. If only for our child. But also because despite everything, I still love her. I know she has issues that are manifesting themselves in reckless romantic behavior and boundary issues with men. Those are symptoms of a larger problem in my eyes. The bigger problem being abandonment/daddy/self-esteem issues that go way back. Like I said, I know her. Probably better than she knows herself. I've tried to fix those issues by being the man that stays, the man that treats her right, the man that loves her. But it isn't enough. Let me add here that our relationship is fantastic aside from this, but other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? We have amazing romance that has gotten a million times better the last 3 years, we are a great couple in social situations, we communicate so well, again, aside from this poop, and we have a beautiful amazing child. From the outside looking in, we are perfect, and I am sure a few of our friends hate us for being so good together. If they only knew. She says that she compartmentalizes all of these trysts. That she doesn't think about me when she does it. That was very hurtful when she said it, but I understand it on a certain level too. Not condoning anything, but I kinda get it. So that's me right now. P.S. Where do I get tested for STDs? Too long, didn't read. Wife has ongoing relationship with at least 3 different men of varying degrees. Want to save the marriage because I love her and our daughter. Tell me how stupid I am, but also some advice if you can.
Hey guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. It would really help me out, thanks.
Are you even sure that the kid is yours? Wow. You wanna do something for your daughter? Show her that this isn't how you treat a loyal husband. Your wife had made you into a complete joke, and you've let her do it every step of the way. How can you have so little respect for yourself? My 33F husband, M36, is taking someone out on a date tonight and doesn't know I know. Obligatory wall of text with too long didn't read below. My husband, I'll call him James, and I have been married for almost 5 years, together 8, but the last 2 years we've been having communication problems which caused major rifts in both our emotional and physical intimacy. I am an over-communicator, and he struggles to articulate and share his feelings. We went to marriage counseling for 9 months, and this June decided to physically separate to see if it improved our communication. He is also extremely passive, so while he agrees to do these things, go to the counselor, he was also struggling with sadness, separate, etc. It's felt a lot like I am the one forced to make these decisions. This is a common topic in our marriage. Fortunately, separating did improve the quality and content of our talks, but we still don't agree on some of what I now recognize to be deal breakers to me. Talks have been turning more serious about making this permanent, even though we love and care about each other a great deal. We made clear rules during this separation: we would not date anyone. We also talked about keeping on our rings. We wanted very limited friends and family to know about it, so we shared details with only a select group vetted by each other. We share bank accounts, Apple Cloud IDs, passwords, pretty much everything. So there is a lot of transparency in what the other is doing. I was the one who moved out of the house, because I have more flexibility working from home with my job. We live and work in a good-sized East Coast US city. James and I met up face-to-face both Tuesday and Wednesday this week to talk about next steps of marriage, after a particularly difficult conversation on Sunday via phone that things shouldn't be this hard. We talked about all sorts of things, but one thing he mentioned was how he was going through pics recently, walk down memory lane, and how many great times we had. He even suggested I do so. All our pics are on our home computer, which he primarily uses because I have a work laptop. So, while I was at our house yesterday spending time with our dog, I went on our computer to get some pictures. The most recent pics in the stream were him and some girl, out at a club, which I'm sure he wasn't thinking about when we were talking about pics. James had told me about going out with a buddy, and getting extremely silly on Sat night. Very unlike him, I've probably seen him silly 3 times ever. He talked about how cool the place was, what he drank, but nothing else. I didn't know when we talked on Sunday about seriously ending the marriage he was as hungover as he eventually admitted on Tuesday. When I saw the pics, which were super flirty, I was only mildly jealous. But it did make me question the ring. So not proud of this, but bear with me. I opened up the message app on the computer, and lo and behold, there is a chain with Monica, the girl he met out at the club. It made me physically ill to read the things they texted, and it's pretty clear she doesn't know he's still married. He said things to her that if he said to me during the course of our marriage, we may not have hit the low we hit. The message chain has been back and forth all week, but what I'm reeling from the most is that his texts with her, planning a date for tonight, at an outpost of the same intimate spot he and I shared our first date 8 years ago, and blocks away from where I work, were happening at the same time we were physically together talking about our marriage. And talking about how more than ever strong open communication was going to be needed to keep things from getting bad. I honestly feel like someone sucker punched me. My friends can't believe he would do something like this. He is typically that nice of a guy. I'm reeling, because it feels like he was only ready to let go once he had someone lined up for the ego boost. I'm certain now he gave up a long time ago and was too weak to tell me, and I feel a fool. But what I really need help with is what to do next that will be best for my mental health in the long run. I texted him last night saying we needed to talk today, that I was too upset to do so until I calmed down, but that we needed to make time. He immediately started texting and calling saying it was throwing him through a loop that I wouldn't say what about. I repeated talking last night was not a good idea. I knew I would freak out and flare and he would miss the points I was upset about. He backed down, but now it is today and I still feel sick. He could have said at any time that he wanted to revisit terms of separation. I feel disrespected that he was looking and smiling at me and planning his next exciting rendezvous with her. I want our upcoming divorce to be amicable, but I can't do so if he's lying to me. Do I even tell him I know about the date, or do I just hold it close and keep my feelings to myself and friends? Or do I reach out after? We share so many, this is going to cause a rift in whose friends become whose, which also sucks. I just don't want to keep feeling this way. But I don't want to say anything with a heart of bitterness and pain. Too long didn't read. Husband and I separated to work on marriage, agreed not to date and to work on our communication. He met someone and doesn't know I know, and taking her to our spot tonight. Edit. First, thank you all for your perspective, thoughts, advice, and for the few laughs. The thought of seeing them together in a very personal, public place makes me feel too panicky and upset. I don't think I would feel good about myself confronting him like that, and all I'm trying to do at this point is be kind to myself. I also agree there are sides to every story, we only ever know our own truth. Writing this post was hard, but I tried to be objective, and I'm glad I was only slightly confusing to most of you. Separating was a Hail Mary pass at working on our communication, the fundamental source of our problems. And it really was great. We've had some of the best, and what I thought was most open talks of our lives, about lots of hard topics. This could not have been achieved without the physical space, because living together felt like a hotbed of passive aggressiveness. I am not blameless in this marriage, but I try to communicate from a meaningful place with my husband, and while I don't expect that to be matched at the same level, I expect we both would try, or be able to step up and honestly tell the other it was over. I feel clear from seeing those messages that divorce is the right next step for us, and if I have to be the one to lawyer up and move it along, then I can do so and not wonder if there was anything else I could have tried to make this work. I want him, and me, to both be happy. I just wish, even at what is clearly the end, he had cared enough to tell me the truth, even if he didn't know yet that dating her is something he 100% wanted. I've proven that he can share hard things with me and that I can respond by listening and responding thoughtfully. That's what is most hurtful, not even that he met someone. But then again, it really underscores the majority of problems in our relationship. We can't talk meaningfully about hard things. Personally, I wouldn't wait on anything. Tell him you know about the date and he's free to do what he wants because you're proceeding with a divorce. You didn't snoop, you share those accounts and it's right there. First call a lawyer though and get all that organized. There will be a group of people who will tell you to go down to the location and crash their date. If that's what you want to do, then go for it. He did lie to you. But I'd just be matter of fact about it. You are allowed to get upset and allowed to get mad. All valid feelings. Don't feel like you can't have normal feelings about what's happening. Try to stay civil, but no need to coddle. You've agreed to keep the marriage going, despite being separate. The agreement was to not date. He broke that agreement. He's not looking to fix. Try to keep it quiet for a bit, but not to protect him. Get all your business in order and file with the least amount of communication with him. There's always going to be somewhat a rift with a divorce. Just keep this to remind you it's over. It also means you are free to date. Back up his date pic, so when he tries to throw you under the bus you do have evidence. But with little communication, he won't get a chance to talk himself out of it. The vibe I get from this post is that you've both seen the writing on the wall for a long time, but both of you were clinging to false hope. Looks like you finally got the giant flashing neon arrow pointing you to the exit. Walk through that door with your head held high, and don't turn around to look back.